And now, coming up, the Conspiracy Corner. Yeah.
Where we uncover the hidden truths
to the crazy world that you're mixed up in.
Orange flavored technocracy.
Orange flavored technocracy. Maybe the J's got a role in it. Maybe the Jesuits. Maybe I meant Jesuits when I said J's. I don't know.
That's for you to find out.
To decide based on your own biases. All right. That's the Conspiracy Corner intro, ladies and gentlemen. So, look. So, as you well know, as you probably know, the Donald Trump, the Trumpster, the Donald, he has been like pushing hardcore for these mofo stinking to acquire Canada, Greenland. And let me just show you here. And yes, this is a Google Doc, my friends. So judge me if you will. CryptPad's a good alternative, but we're using Google Docs today. So this was actually a tweet or a truth, whatever you call it, Truth Social he did. And he's like, add these to cart. Yeah, let's buy all this stuff, right? But just today or recently, he's like, oh, Canada. He wants to make Canada the 51st state. He wants to buy or somehow acquire Greenland, right? There was this one too. Oh, I thought I had a second one on here. He had some other thing about Canada, right? So, and the challenge and the sad thing is, a lot of MAGA folks who are all about America first, fix the problems here. Let's not be the world police and get involved in all these affairs and spend a bunch of money here and there. They're all just following along. Now, not all of them. There's a guy named Clint Russell that I had jabbed with just a little bit. In fact, old Woods got involved in one of the jabbing sessions where I was jabbing at Russell. But he was one of these guys that like reluctantly supported Trump. And he's like, yeah, well, this is what we got to do. And everybody fell for the lesser of two evils. But I'm grateful that Clint now is like, wait a second, this isn't what people thought they were getting into. And he's being critical. But Clint came to the Trump thing as a libertarian, as a liberty freedom movement kind of guy. The whole podcast sphere just kind of got swept into the Trump hysteria. But thankfully, a lot of the folks that have like their philosophical roots are liberty, they are more resistant and they're more critical. But the whole MAGA movement, not the whole MAGA movement, a significant portion of the MAGA movement, their basic definition of what is truth, what is good for America is what Trump says, which is not a healthy deal. And of course, Trump isn't driven by principles. It's actually be a good thing to talk to old Tom Woods about the value of principles. You know, Ron Paul's driven by principles, self-ownership, free markets, non-intervention, right? And so a lot of people are just going along with it. When in all reality, what I'm seeing with this acquire Greenland, acquire Canada as the 51st state, I'm seeing a lot of old school New World Order, North American Union. So I want to draw your attention to this. Now, I don't say this to toot my own horn, only just to let you guys know that I've been in this game for a while. And I remember back in the day, we were pushing against the North American Union. So this is a report from the Council on Foreign Relations, a globalist think tank. Back in 2005, Building a North American Community, report of an independent task force. Okay. And the Council on Foreign Relations, of course, is one of the leading institutions that's pushing for a supranational global government. They have it 2005. So they basically laid out the need for common security parameters, common economic systems. And many people think that this would be great. This sounds like a great idea, but in all reality, it's all about centralization of power and control. So nonetheless, I was hip to this back in the day. We were pushing against it. We were rallying against it. I even went down to Mexico for a student class trip and was talking to them about it and asking people about the North American Union. There was talks of having a common currency like the euro. It's the same thing that happened back in the day when there was different European countries. Now they're all united under the European Union, right? So, of course, that was 2005. And then come to find out 1 year later, under the Bush administration, they launched what was known as the Security and Prosperity Partnership. Did that just switch away? These are my notes here. It's gone now. Oh, there it is. I think I zoomed in. Okay. So the Security and Prosperity Partnership basically laid out exactly what this Council on Foreign Relations report, Building a North American Community, had. Strengthening competitiveness, North American emergency management. Now check this one out. So it's great to go back and look at this stuff from early in the conspiracy days. They wanted to make sure they had similar avian and human pandemic influenza protocols and responses. For instance, we have agreed to work together to accelerate research, development, production, and availability of human pandemic influenza vaccines and develop a strategy to best facilitate the sharing of information and enhance the availability of vaccines in the region. We want to establish a small coordinating body. Can you believe that? North American Common Security, Common Smart. You see that? Smart, secure borders. This is all technocracy, and the smart borders are all about surveillance, biometrics, digital ID, which is also something Trump is pushing forward. Now, that was 2005, 2006, but let's take it back to the good old days. There was actually a report put out by the Club of Rome, an even older globalist institution, which was seeking to deindustrialize the United States, among other things. They put out a report where they called for a regionalized and adaptive model of the global world system. Right now, I don't know if they had an image of this, but there's images going around on Twitter where it basically is 10 regions. Okay. The solution of these crises can be developed only in a global context with full and explicit recognition of the emerging world system on a long-term basis. This would necessitate, among other changes, a new world economic order and a global resource allocation system. They called it the regionalized and adaptive model of the global world system. Essentially, what they wanted to do was turn the world into these 10 mega regions. Now, they pulled off Western Europe. That's the European Union. And now what we're seeing with Trump is pulling together this North American Union of sorts. Now, again, this just makes governance and rolling out their control grid and system much easier. So these are the kingdoms, as they called them. Now, the North American one includes Canada and the United States of America solely. There was a map I saw that also included Greenland. Let me see if I can see Greenland on here. Would Greenland be part of Western Europe, or was it just left off? Either way, so that's the Club of Rome, globalist think tank, pushing this idea back in 1973, I believe. Let's take it back even further, my friends. What about Technocracy, Inc.? Technocracy, Inc. was an institution that was pushing for technocracy. Right, way back in the day. That's a government system where things are organized and controlled via scientific dictatorship, algorithms, experts, right, scientists. They were calling for this Technate, which is a North American control grid. And there you have it, folks. This one does include Greenland, Canada, United States, Mexico, Central America, and the northern part of North America. And if you want to see how this would be governed,
South America,
northern part of South America, they have these, like, look, this is their whole, it's an administrative government that's operated by scientists and experts, you see, and it's a continental board. So it's all about the centralization of power. Wow, look at that picture.
Is that Paulie Gualtieri?
Tony, we got this great idea. You hear what I said, Tony? You hear what I said? All right, we need to do a whole episode on The Sopranos. What can we learn about freedom from The Sopranos? Continental hydrology. Look at this guy. This guy's got something up his ass. This guy.
That guy.
What's up with that?
Kind of looks like Danny Panzella.
Oh, zing! Vanessa might be watching. All right, so that's. I just want to point out there's a rich history of all of this nonsense, and it's crystal clear that what the Trumpster is pushing for is simply more centralization of power. And it leads me to believe that there very well could be some trickery. And, you know, I pushed back on this, but Derek Bro's always held that, like, it's all by design. He was coming in as the great divider to stir up division, problem, reaction, solution, further controls. But it's kind of like a rebrand. We tried to roll out the New World Order and technocracy with the left-wing eco-fascism, DEI, woke, European Union style nonsense. We kind of got hung up. The COVID stuff got throttled because of Texas and Florida and South Dakota and a bunch of patriots and conservative types. So how best can we fast track this agenda? How better to do it than by bringing in a new figurehead along with Elon Musk? All right. Now, I admit I've fanboyed for Elon in the past, largely due to his entrepreneurial prowess and work ethic. But things are becoming more clear, and it seems like there might be something there to where the experts, the Palantirs, the Peter Thiels, and then their puppet, the Vice President J.D. Vance, and now Musk and the Trump relationship. And then this whole Doge thing, Department of Government Efficiency, it's less about reducing the budget and more about reducing the role that the bureaucracy plays in administrating governance and control, replacing bureaucracy with technocracy, algorithm, Palantir, surveillance technology, New World Order kind of nonsense. That's my little spiel there, my rant and rave. What do you think there, Mr. Ryga, as a conspiracy buff yourself?
Very, very interesting.
That's all you got? I just unloaded like all this great knowledge and research, and you just say very interesting?
Yeah, no, I mean,
We're putting him on the spot.
It's super captivating. I've never looked into this before, but it's all there, like you laid it out. So, I mean, to me, it kind of just falls back into the new world technocratic track trace database kind of system that they want to implement. So it looks like this is an earlier version of it, and maybe it's kind of evolved, or maybe it's coming back to, like John alluded to, maybe it's coming back to this because, Trump with the recent Panama Canal and the Greenland comments, however many years ago that was, but then recently with the Canada thing. So maybe it's coming back to this, but yeah, very interesting. It's all laid out there, and maybe it's just something that they put on the shelf for a while, and now they're pulling it back out.
They're bringing it back with orange veneer.
I think that's why the Bilderberg Group allowed Trump to win the presidency. I think they struck a deal. The Trump campaign struck a deal with them that he was going to usher in the technocratic, technotronic era. And that's why he was allowed to win, and why he's saddled himself with so many tech bros, as it were.
The technotronic, that's what Zbigniew Brzezinski called
Right.
it in one of his books.
Yep.
All right, so that's the Conspiracy Corner. Yeah, Brzezinski. Yeah. What do you got?
North American Union.
Yeah.